Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we are continue with faction overviews with this week. The most northern human kingdom of Middle-earth. The Kingdom of Dale. So, the Kingdom of Dale has a lot of inspiration from the movies. And you will see that mainly in the battle map. Because the Kingdom of Dale is the same, I think, has the model of the movies, kind of, as far as possible. Just like small city of Lake Town. Although we don't see a lot of Lake Town, I guess. But without further ado, let's dive in. As Dale, you have 4 starting regions. So you start with an average starting position. You have Dale most up north, Eskarot, Grasgard, and over here Burmalinge. Each city has a small garrison. So in Dale you have a general, your faction leader King Bane, and 3 units, 2 militia, 2 Northman units, and an Athala ranger. Northman units are kind of your trash units, but we will see that in the second part of the video. Here down Eskarot we have Vidocid, who has Lake Town pikemen, and very good late tier pike unit. King Bane has your regular bodyguard, by the way, of Royal Guardsmen, an armor-piercing archer unit. So your standard bodyguard is pretty good actually. Here we have Vidocid with 2 Dale units. Down here we have Bjorn with 2 Northman units, and further down here we have Halward with another Northman unit. But over here we have a small fort with Prince Brand, your second your second general with the custom bodyguard, with Hardguard. A very strong late tier archer unit who is just like your generals, armor piercing, with a small Dale garrison. So it's pretty clear that the strength of your army is here with Prince Brand. Now we already talked about bodyguards. You have 2 custom bodyguards. The other 3 are your standard bodyguard of Royal Guardsmen. Then dealing with family trees. As Dale, you have a family tree. It's a small one, and it's pretty accurate. Over here we have King Bard. He had 1 son and 2 daughters, Secret and Matilda, and King Bane. King Bane has 1 son, Prince Brand, and Howard has been married into the family with his son Bjorn. So you have a family tree. So that is, I think it's always nice to have a family tree instead of Teutonic, because it just normally it works better when generals died. If both of your faction leader and faction heir, I think in the same battle, died, with a Teutonic faction, the faction is immediately eliminated. So you don't have the same issues with a family tree. Then dealing with geographical area and the defensibility of your realm. Well, we are here up north, almost as north as possible, and that means that we have a pretty alright defensible area. To the north we have Erebor, our strong and long-lasting allies. Well, long-lasting. Ever since the Battle of 5 Armies, we have been good friends with the Dwarves and the Elves, and that reflects in both diplomacy and another way, but we come to that soon. So to the north we have Erebor, which will shield us from Gundabad coming down south. I have realized that in version 5 the AI seems to be a little bit more passive, so it could be that Gundabad will be quite quickly at the doors of Erebor. but I'm not sure. Normally, Erebor is able to hold out for a while. But I'm not sure how it goes with version 5. The same is actually through for the elves who are on your western side. So you are guarded from the north and the west by allies. And from the south you have the Khazad-Dûm river who protects you, well, from everything south of it, mainly Dol Guldur, with which you share only one border. So they can come towards you. And it is not impossible. Then we have to the east, we have a few rebel settlements dotted around, and further east we have Rhun. But do note there are some rivers through these lands which you can use as choke points, but the rivers don't go all the way up to the edge of the map, so the AI, your enemies can come around and attack you from open flanks. So your area is quite defensible, because your main enemies will be Rhun and Dol Guldur. Now, Dol Guldur, and especially in the early stages of the game, will only come from down south here up towards Esgaroth. Esgaroth is at risk because it is before the bridges that lies over here, so it can be attacked. And you cannot hold them on some choke point to keep them out of your area. But the advantage is that Esgaroth is a pretty defensible city, so if you have a few troops in there, get the town hall to tier 2 or 3, you should be able to have enough free upkeep to maintain a decent army. And down here in the east, we have the rivers I just told you about to hold off Rhun when necessary, but I would advise you to take Winterian ER as quickly as possible, then, because then you have this river line over here, with I think only 2 or 3 entrance points, so it should be quite easy to defend from there. You can have some ships patrolling around to prevent them from landing some troops by boat. So overall, pretty defensible area. I do need to say there are a few crossings along the Khazad-Dûm river. I think there is over here with the border, there's one. And we have a 2-way crossing over here at Erland Ferry, which is this province. The plains of Vidugavia and Carnan Fields. So you can just cross over here, and I can show you with the cavalry, because they can. So you can cross over this area. So what the AI can do as well, so there are entrances into your realm. Please be aware of that. Then dealing with expansion, and we start with the expansion of rebel settlements, because there are a few dotted around. Burgram over here, Burmalinge and Kondovan, and mostly in the first few turns you get a mission to do so, because I just already had one to take Burmalinge over here. So there will be missions to take. I think most of the time it will be Burmalinge, but it might be Burgram occasionally. But these missions are random, so I cannot guarantee anything. But I would advise you to expand first with Burmalinge, Burgram, and Kondovan, because they are free to grab settlements. I think you will be able to beat Rhun towards Kondovan. because they are more set on going after Dorwinion early stage. So I think you will be able to manage to take these 3 cities first before really going to war. But do note, these are pretty crappy settlements. Burgram is a castle type, but it's only the first tier of castle type, so it's a keep. Burmalinge is just a town, and Kondovan is even not a town, it's just a village. So don't expect huge amounts of income from these cities. They need to grow for that. If you are done with that, I would say you should try to go after Rhun first. If you team up with Dorwinion, they should be able to hold quite a while, and then you can come in from the north and take their northern holdings and really take down Rhun pretty quickly. Because if they grow too strong, Rhun is a pretty strong faction. You should not underestimate their late tier armies. In comparison to Dol Guldur, who will be your other main enemy. Compared to Dol Guldur, Rhun is way stronger. They have good late tier units. So I would say first grab rebel settlements, then go after Rhun, and then go after Dol Guldur. Unless you really liked for a challenge, then I would say go after Dol Guldur, because then you can, because then you border Rhun from 2 sides, over down here most likely in Varfest, and up north in Winterian ER. But you do have the risk that you get involved in a war with Mordor. So different ways to play this, and it's about you whether you like the challenge or not. Then dealing with custom battle maps. Well, we have an area where there are quite a few custom battle maps, but unfortunately for you, they belong to your allies. So we have Erebor, Dale, Eskarot, Tendril's Halls, Onazonar, Kirkatol. Even further up north we have Danesal's Bursicle, Gundabad. They are all custom. Down south it's way less custom. The closest is Dol Guldur and Roscobel. But as I said, most of them already belong to your allies or enemies you're not very likely to fight. There is only another side on that on this, but I don't necessarily say it's a good thing. In the game there are invasions called upon by Sauron, and it basically means that all evil factions declare war on the invasion target and send armies towards it. Dale is one of the 4 or 5 cities that is more likely to be target of an invasion than other factions and than other cities. So you have a bigger chance that an invasion is called upon you when you play as Dale. Other targets of that are Erebor, Tandril's Halls, and Karis Galadon. Those are the 4 I mostly see as targets of an invasion. Kirit Katol sometimes, but I think that's more likely to happen when Erebor already fell. So that is about custom battle maps. Then dealing with diplomacy. As I already said, you are allied to Erebor and the Woodland Realm. You're also allied to Dorwinion, who are strong trading partners, and Khazad-Dûm, and that has to do with your connection with Lord Balin. Then dealing with building and culture. Well, you are a Northman faction, so you share your culture with the Anduin Vale and Rohan, I think. And I think that's about it. Dorwinion, you also share cultures with, but that's about it. Mainly the people from Rovanion and the Eotieth of Rohan. So that is your culture. Then we will deal first with the blacksmith. As a Northman culture, as a human Northman faction, you have normally access to 3 tiers of smithing: the leather tanner, the leather worker, and the blacksmith. But since you have this connection to the Dwarves of Erebor, you have an extra boost on your armor, which is the Dwarven Armorer. So you have an extra tier in armoring. Then going to the ports, because with the ports we also deal with the ships. You have 3 tiers of ports. You are a trading faction, so you thrive by trading, but you are not specifically a seafaring nation. So you build ships, that's true, but you are not master shipbuilders or something. So that's why you only have access towards the longship. Besides the mercenary cog, the warship in the game. So you're not a shipbuilding faction, but you do have ships. As I already said, you are a trading faction, and that emphasizes. That's shown in that you have an extra building for trade, the trade routes. And I think it's a pretty useful building. If you build Builder's Hut first, you get a nice discount, and it made them pretty cheap. I think the trading post is with the first tier of the Builder's Hut, I think 1050. So very nice, and it will repay themselves pretty quickly. It has 3 tiers, and each gives you increase of tradable goods and a flat income. So it will, on the long term, it will really boost your income. Right, then dealing with guilds. You have 3. You have the Merchant's Guild. In the first tier, it only gives you an increase in tradable goods. And the second tier gives you 1 merchant. If you want a second one or third one, you need to either conquer another city with the Master Merchant's Guild, or conquer a city with the 3rd tier of the Merchant Guild, which grants you 2 merchants for that building. Besides that, there is no way to get extra merchants. Then the Warriors Guild. Every faction get the Warriors Guild. First tier only speeds up replenishment of melee units and gives you a melee weapon bonus, and the second tier gives you morale bonus. Then the Archer Guild, in my opinion, one of the best guilds for deal. First tier, the Archers Guild speeds up replenishments of all archers. The second tier, Bard's Hall, provides you with the training of barding marksmen and also speeds up replenishment. And the third tier, Order of the Black Arrow, gives you marksman, herd guard, and speeds up replenishment. Do note that the herd guard normally can only be trained in Asgaroth or Dale. So if you have the Order of the Black Arrow, there is a 3rd place where you can train them. If you conquer another... Oh no, there is only 1 of this building in the whole world. So there's only 1 place where you will be able to train herd guard besides these 2 settlements. It could occur that the Order of the Black Arrow is offered in either Dil or Asgaroth. Don't be afraid to accept that guild, because then it will speed up the replenishment of the herd guard even more. So there's always a benefit at taking the highest tier of guild, even if it doesn't mean that you can train a unit where you first couldn't. Alright, do I need to attend to anything else? I will attend to the town hall for other reasons. Culture we already got. Entertainment. Entertainment buildings used to be like 4 or 5 tiers. But the use of it was pretty minimal, so they took it back to only 2. The smoking house at the first tier and the inn at the second tier. It gives you a small income bonus and the ability to train your spies at the first tier. And more income and a public order bonus at the second tier. So the income is boosted, and there's a nice secondary benefit at building the inn. Then we also have the banks, which should further boost your economy when the time is there. But this is kind of a mid-tier to late game building, since it requires the great market. But it gives an increase of tradable goods and a flat income. And then the second tier is just more of that. Then I will attend to the town hall, and with it I want to go immediately to scripts and gameplay events, because Dale doesn't have a specific script, but it does have some gameplay events, and one of them has been changed compared to version 4.5, and that is the alliances of old. With the events of the Battle of the Five Armies, things changed around this area, and Dale became good friends with both the Elves of Tendrils Halls and the Dwarves of Erebor. There are still struggles between the two of them, but with the Man of Dale, relations were very good. And that reflects itself in a small gameplay event. That gameplay event can be seen in the town hall, because for as long as you are allied to the elves or the dwarves, you will get their units available to train. And you can see that, and that is available from the second tier in the town hall line. So first tier is the meeting hall. It's already built in Dale. You see, that gives you your general, because we are in the capital. And it gives you your Nordman units and Rivermen, which I would say are like the Nordmen. So these are your kind of trash tier units. They come from your meeting hall, from your town hall as well. And at the second tier we see some Dwarven and Elven units. So for the Dwarven units, at the low tier you get the Erebor infantry, which will be a nice addition towards your infantry lines. And for the elves you get the Woodland Warders, which are a javelin throwing unit. Then the third tier, Lord's Hall, gives you nothing more from this script. But the fourth tier, the Royal Hall, gives you also some mid-tier units. So from the Dwarves you get the King's Shields. And from the Elves you get the Woodland Sentinels. Really not a good archer unit. Not that you really need archer units, but it's a nice addition, and it just gives some flavor to your armies, and I really like that. There is also a downside of all that's happened in the Battle of the Five Armies, because it left the economy of Dale in ruins. And that is reflected in the fact that at the first tier at least, at the first turn at least, you lose money. Apparently you don't, because I'm already in the second turn and you start with 6,000 in the treasury. So if you really do nothing, you're already earning money. But if you start building and training, you will see that you will lose money, and you will lose money quickly. But it can be easily fixed. So if you build, for example, a grain exchange in all your cities, which is pretty cheap, because we don't even have the effects of the masons all in, and it's not even 1,000. So if you build your grain exchange in every city, probably your money issues are already solved. Besides that, you can choose to get everything that's not free from upkeep in a fort, and pull them in the city when necessary, when you need to defend it. So that way you can save some money as well. Personally, I would prefer in certain cities to try to build a meeting hall. I think, for example, in here, just build a meeting hall because it gives the free upkeep to your generals and the Northman units. And on the long run, it will save. I think it will save more money than building the grain exchange, because it now gives only one free upkeep. That means I think your generals are more expensive, so it will take the general. Yes, it will save you 250 coins each turn, which is in 4 turns 1,000, and that means that you potentially can already build something else. Do note that for the free upkeep, you need to be able to train the unit you want free upkeep for. So, for example, Vindsvept has Lake Town Pikemen. Lake Town Pikemen cannot be built until the 2nd tier, I guess. Yeah, 2nd tier of barracks. So you first need the 2nd tier of barracks before he will be free from upkeep. Alright, that is everything we need to know on the campaign map about Dale. I hope it's useful for you guys, and I will see you in the battle map to show off Dale's roster. I'll see you there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the battle map of Dale. As we see right away, we have a reasonable amount of infantry, a good amount of archers, and a limited amount of cavalry. So cavalry is definitely not our strong point. But let's just dive in with our trash tier units, the Northman units. Starting with the Northman militia, with a 4 attack, a 6 charge and a 3 defense. They will not do that much in the battle, but they have armor piercing, which do count for them. They are a double-handed axe unit, which makes them a better strike unit than a line unit. They have poor morale response, no bonuses for speed, but they do have a bonus if forest and snow, and they don't like the barren lands. Like most of the human factions. They are supported by 2 units, starting with the Riverman, who is a javelin unit, with a 3 melee attack, a 7 missile attack, a 6 charge and a 4 defense. They are slightly better in the defense than the militia, but worse in the attack. They have 3 javelins with a 55 meter range and average accuracy, and they are skilled against mounts with these javelins. They have poor morale response, a bonus versus camels, walks, horses and elephants, but besides that, not that much, not that special. Last but not least, our first archer unit, the Northman Archer, with a 2 melee attack, a 3 missile attack, a 2 charge bonus and a 3 defense. They are abysmal in melee, but they are reasonable archers, especially at this tier with a 3 attack. They have poor morale response. They have 18 missiles with a 160 meter range and a low accuracy. And they all have these gray-ish looks, which makes them really stand out in your army as not really military. I'm not sure whether I already, I think I already discussed these units in the Bree campaign, but I had 2 slots over, so I just thought let's do them in this overview as well. The Rovanian units, and it would make sense because Dale is one of the Rovanian factions in the game. Starting with the Rovanian Spearmen with a 2 attack, a 4 charge, and a 7 defense, they are not really great. They are better than the militia, defensive-wise, but they are worse offensive-wise. So in a perfect world, you will have these guys defending, holding the line, and with the militia, you attack from the flanks. They have poor morale, an average morale response, and because they are spears, they have a bonus fighting horses, camels, and wargs. They are supported by the Rovanian hunters, who are an axe-throwing unit, I think. Maybe a javelin? No, they throw javelins. Yes, they throw javelins. So they have a 5 melee attack, a 9 missile attack, a 4 charge, and a 7 defense, making them better than your rivermen. So if you can use these guys instead of rivermen, always do. They have a poor morale, an average morale response. They have a bonus fighting camels, wargs, horses, and elephants with their javelins. They have 3 of them with a 55 meter range and an average accuracy. So these are an addition towards your Northman units. Then going to your militia tier units, starting with the Dalian swordsmen. They have a 6 attack, a 4 charge, and an 11 defense, making them straight up way better than your Northman militia. They have an average morale response, and well, just a good all-round sword and board militia unit. And these guys can kill as long as these guys will hold the Dalian Billman, which is an halberdier unit. So they will not perform as well as pikemen, but still do pretty well. They have a 4 attack, a 3 charge, and an 8 defense. They are effective against armor. They have an average morale response, and bonus fighting horses, camels, and wargs. So just a good spear, well, good halberdier unit. And then in this line we have also support of our 2nd archer unit, the Dalian longbowmen, with a 3 attack, a 4 missile attack, a 2 charge, and a 6 defense. They are straight up better than the Northman archer. And a pretty to really good early militia tier archer in general. They have an average morale response, 24 missiles, 180 meter range, and an average accuracy, which is, well, pretty good for this tier of archer. Most of the time you see at this tier you only have low accuracy. The other stats are quite comparable with other units in this tier. Also, we get our first cavalry unit here, the Dale Cavalry. With a 5 attack, a 7 charge, and a 10 defense. They are good militia tier cavalry. They excel in charging in the enemy, getting them to rout with the morale, with the shock of the charge, chasing down enemy units, but don't keep them in melee. They have a secondary attack, which is worse than their primary attack. So they will not perform very well in prolonged melee. Keep that in mind. So that is your militia tier unit. We have one unit that is, well, actually 2 units that is kind of in between. But I think they are more, stat-wise, they are more mainstream than militia tier. And we start right away with the one you will most likely to get very soon. And those are the Rovanian Dwarves. With a 4 attack, a 5 charge, they seem to be militia tier, but their 15 defense really stands out to the mainstream tier. They have average morale response. They are spearmen, so they have a bonus fighting camels, wargs, horses, and elephants. And they are skilled against mounts. Do note this unit is restricted to the Rovanian region, which is, well, basically everywhere you will be fighting. I think it's officially it's from down of the Khazad-Dûm River towards the Dead Marshes, and from the Adrian River towards east towards near Mithlond, I guess. But I think also north of the Khazad-Dûm River you will be able to train them. So roughly I would say from the whole of your territory towards almost where you reach Mordor. But I could be wrong in one of two provinces there. But do note these guys are restricted. The second unit that is, in my opinion, a kind of in-between unit are the Dale Swordmasters. With a 13 attack, a 7 charge, they are definitely mainstream. And the 15 defense makes them in the same tier as the Rovanian Dwarves. So I think these units are already your mainstream units. They have good morale response. I think they're not restricted. No, they are not restricted. So these two units will be, well, the Daily Swordsman will be one of the few units that of your mainstream that will be every trainable. I think no, it's the other way around. Only the Rovanian Dwarves are restricted, so all the other units are trainable everywhere. And these are your more strike units. And where you have strike units, you need a unit to hold the line. The anvil from where the hammer can hit on. And those are the Lake Town Pikemen. With a 4 attack, a 4 charge, and a 15 defense. They are good pikemen. Do note, with pikemen you need to triple the attack, double to triple the attack. So their actual attack will be around 10. And that has to do with the animation of the pikemen units. They have good morale response. They are pikemen, so bonus against camels, wargs, horses, and elephants. And they have very long spears, so not all pike units have that trait. That means that their spears are, well, long, and therefore it's harder to hit the actually pikemen than with shorter spears. So they are better at staying alive, basically, in melee. Also, in this tier, you have another archer unit, the Barding Marksman. It's one of my favorite archers for Dale, together with the Atala Rangers. I'm not a huge fan of the Hearthguard. They do have some nice abilities, but more about them later. First, the Barding Marksman. With a 6 attack, a 6 missile attack, a 5 charge, and a 40 defense. They are both reliable both in as archers as in melee when they are done. So don't be afraid to use these guys when they are done. Don't send them against enemies elites, because then they will die. But against most lower tier units, they will perform very well after they're done with their bows. They have good morale response, 30 missiles, 200 meter range, and a high accuracy. Especially the last two things are a real advantage in my opinion. So train these guys as much as possible. One last thing I need to say about the Lake Town Pikemen, and that is, this is also the unit of Vidusit, the general in Eskarot. So you already have one of these units at the start of the game. Then dealing with the last unit on this tier, and the unit I don't really looked out to deal with, because I don't even know where to start how to pronounce it. I would say the Iwotheuda Horse Guard. Iwotheuda Horse Guard. I think that's some kind of the pronunciation you should, some kind of the way you should pronounce it. But I have no idea. But I like these guys, because these are horse archers. And good horse archers as well. With a 7 melee attack, a 5 missile attack, a 10 charge, and a 16 defense, they are good offensive cavalry. They start with the started archers, and when they are done with their bows, they continue as strike cavalry. They have good morale response, a bonus against horses, so they are an anti-horse unit. No, an anti-horse cavalry unit. Sorry, that's the way. An anti-horse cavalry unit with 28 missiles, 120 meter range, and an average accuracy. What you see with horse archers is that their range most of the time is less, because you can't have a longbow on the horse, because that just don't work. But they are most of the times they're more accurate than normal archers, or they have more missiles than comparable units. So for example, I think this unit is best comparable to, well, definitely the Northman archers, the one who has 80 missiles and low accuracy. Maybe the Dalian, they are similar. So the Horse Guard has some more missiles, some less range, comparable accuracy. So they are in between those two units, which seems to be terrible, but as horse archers, they will perform well, because it's bloody hard to hit them. And the only counter to them actually are just foot archers, because they can outrange the horse archers and just start shooting them down. So really good units. I just call them the Horse Guard for now. I really like these guys. As I play as Deal, I prefer them over the Barons actually. So dealing with your elite tier units, from which 2 I already said I don't like them that much. Dealing first with your infantry, starting with the Barding Herd. Again, a halberdier unit, but a really good halberdier unit. Not restricted. With a 7 attack, a 5 charge, and a 21 defense, they will take down everything that stands against them. They have good thick armor, so they are pretty good defended against archer fire. They are effective against archers, skilled against mounts, a very good morale response, bonus against camels, walks, horses, and elephants. Good, just a good line infantry. And they are supported by another good unit, the Barons. With an 11 attack, a 6 charge bonus, and a 24 defense, these are tanks on the field. They inspire nearby troops. They have a very good morale response, but it's not locked, so all your units will be able to run away. I think your general as well, yes. Just quick look. So you don't have any locked units, as far as I'm aware of. And this is just a very tanky unit who will be able to deal a lot of damage before they die or run away. On this tier, we are supported by 2 archer units. I put the rangers in the elite tier because I think they are actually elites. But we start with your more well-known unit. They're not more available because they are very restricted. The Barons aren't, I think. I forget to mention. Oh no, they are restricted to Dil and Nesgarad. Just like these guys, the Herd Guard. with a 9 attack, a 7 missile attack, a 6 charge, and a 25 defense. They are good all-round soldiers. They're kind of hybrid between a good spear unit, and a decent archer unit. That's missile stat is not awesome. It's not, in my opinion, it's not really elite. But what makes them elite are the black arrows, who are armor piercing. So you have an armor piercing archer unit, which is perfect to take down, for example, Rhun bodyguards. So that is where they really shine, fighting, shooting against armored units. This is the unit that can place sharpened stakes for you. They are a spear unit when they are done with their archers, with their bows. So I think they are both skilled against mounts with both their spears and their bows, but they're only effective against armor with their bows, not with their spears. Do keep that in mind. They have a very good morale response. No bonuses again for movement, but they have a bonus against the special Easterling Cadaver Cavalry, normal horses, camels, wargs, and I think elephants as well. No, not elephants. They have 24 missiles, 170 meter range, and a high accuracy. And that is why I think you see they kind of let you down. 170 on the range is not great for a elite tier archer unit. You will be outranged by the majority of enemy archers. I think, for example, the Lothlorien Rim. I think it's Lothlorien Rim. They have a range of 170. Even Gundabad's Black Shield archers have a range of 200. Just like the Lothlorien Rim, I guess. I think I said 170, but it's 200 both. So against late tier archer units, you will be outranged most likely, and that is where the herd guide let you down, in my opinion. The armor piercing makes a lot of things good though. And the Easterling Cadaver Cavalry is, for example, the horses of the Lothlorien Rim. I think also Camul's Shadowguard has the same horse. It's a certain horse type, most likely to be seen by runic armored horses. These guys are restricted, just like these guys, but the Atella Rangers are way more widely available, because they are trainable from East Mirkwood towards Dorwinion, and I think on only the southern side of the river, Khazad-Dûm, is not the areas you that is your territory, but on the other side of the river, I think. But I could be wrong in there. But the Atella Rangers, they are trainable in Dale though. They have a 7 melee attack, a 6 missile attack, a 4 charge bonus, and a 12 defense. Reasonable stats. They are in those stats a little bit weaker than other rangers, but for you, really good. Where they really shine is down here, with a very high accuracy. 240 meter range and 32 missiles means that they will kill a lot of things. These guys can rack up kills with just shooting. While the herd guard, for example, also needs some melee fighting for the same amount of kills. They're slightly faster since they are rangers, so they move way better than other infantry with 10% movement bonus. And they have good morale and good morale response. So just a really good archer unit. And then the last unit that is, well, on which I doubt their usefulness in a campaign, but don't get me wrong, these guys are really good units. The Earls, just a mounted version of the Barons. With a 10 attack, an 8 charge, and a 22 defense. They are pretty tanky. They have good morale response, but because they are so well armed, they're slightly slower than other horses. They do have a bonus against other cavalry, so that is in their advantage. They do inspire nearby troops. They have a powerful charge with 8, but I think the charge of the horse guard is better actually. Yes, it's charge of 10. So overall, they are a more tankier version of the horse guard. Not as mobile as them. Yeah, I don't want to offend anyone in the developers team, but these guys, for me, they are just not it. They seem, in my opinion, they seem to let you down compared to the horse guard. I think, personally, I wouldn't get that much earls and just choose the horse guard. I think these guys are restricted as well. Yes, to Delve Eskarot or Eskarot. So you won't get much of them. And in my honest personal opinion, I would say you would choose the horse guard over the earls, because they are more well all-rounded and, in my opinion, better overall. But these are, don't get me wrong, it is a good unit. Pretty tanky, a mountain version of the barons, but not more. I don't want to sound too disappointed about the earls, but for me they aren't just not it. And that's my honest personal opinion. If you really do like them, be my guest and use them. Just go ahead, but for me they are kind of disappointing actually. Then last but not least, your general's unit, the Royal Guardsmen, with an 8 attack, 7 missiles, a 5 charge, and a 21 defense. They are similar to the Hearth Guard. Yes, they are. But there are just less of them. Also, these guys have the black arrows, so armor-piercing archers, skilled against mounts with both their archers, and when they are done, they're also spearmen, just like the Hearth Guard. They're very similar to each other. Also, down here you see the same stats. I think they have a better average accuracy. No, same accuracy, same range, same amount of missiles. They miss the bonus against other horses and wargs, but they do have a bonus against the Easterling Cataphract Cavalry. So that is, they are a slightly less version of the Hearth Guard. But the armor-piercing arrows do, believe me, they do make a lot of things good, right. Where they are let down by their range, they made up with their armor-piercing abilities. There's one last thing I need to address to, and that is to the Hearth Guard. It is asked to mention when certain custom generals has certain bodyguards. Your factionaire, Prince Brand, do have Hearth Guard, so he has this unit from the start at your disposal. Do use them, I would say. So that is Dale, a really nice archer-focused faction. Who could be a little bit tricky at the start, but once you're rolling a really nice faction, I really enjoyed playing them. At least in version 4.5, I do need to say that most factions I have played are in version 4.5, if not all of them, because I haven't completed any campaigns in version 5. But I am getting better. I'm getting somewhere with my Anduin campaign. So if you like to see a gameplay playthrough from me, do watch the Anduin. That is the one I'm currently playing. You can always watch some of my earlier campaigns, but they are all in version 4.5. The Anduin Vale is the only one I'm playing in version 5 for now. And I do say for now, because I have planned to start something new. Maybe it will be this week, maybe somewhere else. I need to find some time for that. But for now, let us play one last game. And that is guess which faction next. I always like that to play that with you guys. So I give everything to the AI, and we will play what we see. We do see some horses, which I can say is not very likely normally. See a lot of gray. Do you see some red over here? It's not really a giveaway. I think we might see something that might be a giveaway. Maybe not. Most likely gray. I hear just some voice lines that might be a small giveaway from them. I see more gray, and I just hover over it. It are the Dwarves of Khazad-Dûm, the sons of Balin. While we have that the Horse-Dale cavalry just charging into the Iron Fist hammers. There's some Legion Deeping Guard over here. Shield Guard. Reclaimers. An axe throwing unit. We have a general right in the center of that. What the hell are you doing, friend? You really have a death wish, don't you? There's some Ar-Adunaim pikemen who are available to Khazad-Dûm. Some Aothead cavalry, which is actually the cavalry unit of Khazad-Dûm. Some dragon slayers over here. Rovanian spearmen trying to take down the Aothead horsemen. Do I have the barons running? Are you joking? What the hell? How? How are the barons running? Oh, holy hellfire. Yeah. Why do I always see when the AI plays that the archers always get stuck in melee? What the hell is that? And I have my horses fighting with spearmen. How terrible can you manage your army? Seriously, guys. At least we're winning over here, kind of, I guess. The militias, it's surprisingly enough. But it's terrible. But for now, I will say goodbye to all of you. I hope you have enjoyed this overview. I hope you find some use in it. But for now, I say goodbye to you all, and until next time, goodbye.